Now for global business updates, Rotus Oddiri joins us. Good morning, Rotus. You are back.
Good morning,
Very
Dr.
good.
Good morning,
yeah,
Dubai. Good
I
morning,
see you are back.
I'm back.
After
I'm
traveling
back in
from,
Lagos. I'll
from
soon claim
US
international
to Turkey
correspondent.
to Saudi Arabia. You are enjoying our rice news, though.
Arise News. Arise is a fantastic organization to work for. Let's get into it. Lots happening this week. As you know, it's a massive week. So we look at what to watch this week. The National Committee for China's National People's Congress is starting a meeting today. 5-day meeting. It should end on Friday. So you should see a picture of Xi Jinping on Friday, where we'll be expecting to hear what stimulus measures they come up with. However, they're waiting to see what happens in the US elections. If Donald Trump comes up and is the winner of the election, he has said that there will be a tariff about 60% up to, he said, even maybe 200% on Chinese goods. So if he does become president, then you expect a bigger set of stimulus to come from China. If it's Harris, it might be smaller. But the thing to note is that it's more of domestic issues that are facing China as opposed to international. Tuesday, of course, is the US election. We will see how that goes. I mean, Dr. Bati Rufai, myself, who else was there? 2020, we didn't sleep, right? We stayed up all night as the results came in. Wednesday, we'll see whether we'll get the results or not. I think if North Carolina and Georgia, they should be coming in late Tuesday night. If those results are decisive one way or the other, that might give us a clue as to where things go on Wednesday. Thursday, we've got, not to forget, big rate decisions coming from the Federal Reserve, Jerome Powell, and the Bank of England with Andrew Bailey. We're expecting another rate cut. The Fed says they don't care what happens in elections. Their calendar was already set, and we'll see what happens there. The UK, of course, depending on what happens with the elections and with Trump talking about tariffs and so on and so forth, we'll have to see how trade is impacted. And then Friday, we will now get that decision from that committee from China. Their National People's Congress Committee decision. Moving on to oil prices. I mean, I was going to talk about stocks, but stocks are a bit choppy today. Hong Kong, I think Japan is closed. So we'll see how stocks trade tomorrow. But just looking at oil, though, that really is the story. On the front page of today's This Day newspaper, Nigeria's newspaper record, at the very top, I think Adifemi went through that, how, there are projections of oil prices falling to 73. So OPEC did delay their additional outputs for December. This is the second delay now. They've decided to hold off by one more month. I think the elections might have something to do with that. The U.S. now, by the way, interesting stat, the United States is producing about 50% more oil than Saudi Arabia, where Rufai and I were just coming from. So the U.S. is really producing oil at a high rate. So those fundamentals in terms of increased production from the US, increased production from Guyana, increased production from Canada, from Brazil. That's weighing on prices. But then you also had Iran now saying that they're probably going to retaliate again, against Israel for that last attack. The tit for tat continues. So those two, from OPEC reducing supplies and then the Iranian threats to Israel, that pushed up oil prices. So Brent crude at $74.25, West Texas at $70. The US election, of course, it's the big story. The dollar actually falling a bit, Bitcoin falling a bit. We're seeing traders not really sure where to go. If we look at the economic impact, though, of what could happen, depending on who takes office. So taxes, Donald Trump, of course, remember in his first term in 2017, he had those Trump tax cuts. They will expire at the end of 2025. If Trump wins, he says he will extend those tax cuts. Kamala Harris has said that on taxes, she will keep the tax cuts only for people earning less than $400,000 a year. She also wants to introduce a tax on billionaires, and she says taxes essentially will be raised for other people that are earning over $400,000. On trade, I just mentioned China just a moment ago. Trump has repeatedly said it's going to be tariffs, and that the reduction in income that comes into the United States from his tax cuts will be made up by tariffs. And he also wants to try and improve or increase U.S. domestic production. again, there have been wide-ranging analysis on what the impact would be on inflation and what would have to happen with the Fed, who has been cutting rates if Trump comes in and those tariffs push up inflation. On immigration, Trump has said he wants to have a massive deportation program of how many immigrants are in the U.S. now? 11 million plus. What would that involve? The military, the police, how much would it cost? How practical is it? Kamala Harris says that she wants to increase border security, so she's going on a different path. On energy, well, look, as I just said, the U.S. is producing more oil, 50% more oil now than Saudi Arabia, because of the drilling permits that were approved under the Biden administration as part of the Inflation Reduction Act. So, but Trump still says he wants to drill. So traders are like, okay, look, we're looking at some, fossil fuel stocks in terms of where things go if Trump wins. Harris, on the other side, on energy, she wants to, of course, pursue a more renewable energy program. And then on deficits, a number of think tanks have said that under Trump, the deficit would rise by about $7.5 trillion over the next 10 years. Under Harris, it will be about 3.5. So those are the metrics that we're looking at. Now, there was a viral video over the weekend on how explaining tariffs to voters. Well, I wanted to share that with you guys. Take a listen to a shirt producer in America.
Voting for the man that's going to take America back, baby. Donald J. Trump, man.
What's one of your biggest issues?
Probably going to be inflation, because I sell T-shirts and all that stuff.
Your T-shirts are made in the USA?
No, my blanks, no. See, that's the thing Trump's talking about. If we tax them, hit tariffs, the same item they're making over there will cost the same to make over here.
We pay the tariffs.
Well, the companies pay the tariffs, not us.
China doesn't pay the tariffs. We do when they come in.
What did Jesus do for you?
No, it doesn't work like that.
Like if I'm buying 1,000 shirts from China and there's a tariff on it, I'm paying the tariff.
Well, no, whoever's getting it imported in is going to pay the tariffs.
Yeah. I'm the business owner. I'm paying the tariff. China doesn't pay it. I pay for it.
Well,
Like if I'm the business owner and I buy 1,000 shirts,
I see what you're saying.
China's not Jolly. So I'm trying to
So who
explain.
pays the tariff?
They're paying the tariff.
Do you think that? Do you believe that?
I was trying to say, because I sell merch as well.
I sell you something for $10, right? You're going to sell it to him for $20.
Exactly.
But then I make you pay me $15 for it. Are you still going to sell it to him for $20?
Am I going to sell it to him for 20?
If I raise the price $5.
Oh, it's going to have to go up.
Right. So
Yeah, the consumer foots the bill.
Two types of people that you make it.
All right. Also, look, again, to reemphasize how traders are feeling ahead of the election, because it's on a knife edge. This is a very interesting analogy from Calvin Yaw. He's a portfolio manager at Blue Edge Advisors in Singapore. He says November 5th is going to be a blindfolded mud wrestle in a minefield. The election is so tight with path dependent that it makes it very difficult to trade. Let's quickly get to Nigeria as we round off today. FBNH, of course, we've been covering since March of 2024 when the Central Bank of Nigeria announced those higher thresholds for international banking licenses, regional, and so on and so forth. All the banks have been on a drive to raise capital. So sorry, just got some breaking news. Sorry, Quincy Jones has passed away at the age of 91. So Quincy Jones, the legendary producer of Michael Jackson's Thriller and everything, he's just passed away. So Quincy Jones has died. May he rest in peace. I get these breaking news alerts here. All right, so back to FBNH. Rights issue, 5.9 billion ordinary shares, 25 naira per share, almost at $25. 150 billion naira for existing shareholders. So it's a 1 for 6, one new share for every 6 ordinary shares. And Femi Otedola, the strong man of the capital market, has said it aims to recapitalize the banking arm. And speaking of the banking arm, just to remind people how well FBNH has performed under his leadership, you're looking at total assets now at 27 trillion naira for the bank. Interest income, you know there has been an elevated interest environment in Nigeria with the central bank raising rates. So interest income, the difference between what banks pay out on their savings accounts versus what they earn in loans for FBNH, 1.6 trillion naira. Profits so far in 9 months of 2024 up by 125%, and the stock price closing at 27 naira per share on Friday. That's up 10% year to date. So that's our update. And once again, the breaking news here: Quincy Jones passing away at 91. That's your update for today.
About Quincy Jones, there, goodness me, all the great hits, The Girl Is Mine, could I go on and on, but it's not about Quincy Jones today. Real quickly, Rotus, I mean, that's a clear example of the lies Trump tell his supporters. And I'm sure you've seen it for yourself. The man touting Trump does not even know that it's businesses like him that get to pay for the tariff in the end. And that's why all the economists, you're laughing, it's the sad reality. That's why politicians tell a lot of bollocks and lies. Economists have come together to say that that Trump plan is definitely going to add to the deficit, about 78 trillion. Kamala's plan is going to add about 4 trillion to the deficit. The question is the inflation it will bring. Trump even stretched it further in one of his campaigns by lying to the people that, he was going to abolish income tax and allow deficit pay for it. Can you imagine? America gets about 4.5 trillion from income tax. You want to abolish that money and allow deficit pay for it? These are the lies that the delusional politicians tell. And that's why, I'm sorry, Americans definitely should know what to do. That's just it. I can't stand the lies. I'm not saying Kamala is a saint. Please don't get me wrong.
On the oil price, that glut, World Bank is putting it at as low as $73 for 2025. Very, very, very concerning development. Of course, by then we will have a new budget coming into play here in Nigeria. But Rotus, you are always consistent in highlighting the fact that our budget is pegged at, $77? And of course, that we're not getting. And I hope that the folks in Abuja are working overtime and overnight to recalculate. And because what this spells for the Nigerian economy is not a great indicator at all. So we all should be very concerned about what's happening with this oil price. And I'm hoping that this is me now just hoping, because it looks like vibes at the moment, but hopefully there is some sort of work happening behind the scenes to try and step in for the fact that we've already had a terrible year. We can't meet our quota. We can't, as far as oil production goes. So I hope there's a plan. We continue to advocate for diversifying our production, diversifying our economy, and so forth. Not seeing much action yet, but I guess we continue to hope, and renew our hope again.
Okay, the big story this week is the American elections taking place tomorrow. Now, the stock market seems to be doing well in the U.S. ahead of the election, but it's been described as the calm before the storm. Now, investors are watching the outcome of that election very closely, and that would be determined by a number of factors. One, who wins? And it's not just who wins, who gets the balance or, the superior position in parliament, that is Congress, who gets the better position there. Because the American president does not act alone. He's not a monarch like the Nigerian president. So the balance in Congress will also determine a lot of things. But it's not only America that will be affected. The Chinese, they've been having a 5-day National Congress meeting. Now they are going to announce a fiscal stimulus on Friday. They are also watching the elections closely, as other countries in the world are watching the elections closely. Now, a poll conducted by I newspaper in the UK says about 47% of the Britons will prefer Kamala Harris. 27% will prefer Trump. But a greater majority will say, well, it looks like Trump will win anyway, even if they know that a Trump victory is not good news for the rest of the world. Now, over the weekend, Kamala Harris was in North Carolina. She's going to be in Pennsylvania today. Trump is also going to be in Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania alone has 9 votes. North Carolina has 6 electoral votes. So there is this battle for the swing states. So what we're going to see when we begin the analysis tomorrow will be between electoral college votes and also the popular votes. But at the end of the day, as we always say, it's the Americans that will decide. But for us here, at a limited level in Nigeria, one lesson we can learn is that this is an election that has been determined by issues and by positioning, with Trump saying he wants to fight enemies within. Who those enemies are, we'll see. Thank you very much, Rotus.